marijuana is still, 2025, classified as a Schedule I substance, putting it in the same category as heroin and LSD. This classification not only stifles scientific research, but also forces legal businesses to pay sky-high taxes under Section 280E of the tax code. During the Biden administration, there was real hope that the accumulation of scientific evidence would lead to a shift to Schedule III, a category shared with drugs like Tylenol with codeine and ketamine, which would have eased research restrictions and provided much-needed tax relief. But now, with Trump back in charge, his cabinet pick suggests that we're facing a very cautious, even conservative approach to cannabis reform. Take, for example, Pam Bondi. You may or may not remember Bondi as the former Florida Attorney General who back in 2013 argued in a court brief that Florida's proposed medical marijuana amendment was misleading because it would allow use in limitless situations. Now, she's probably going to be serving as the nation's top law enforcement official. Bondi's record clearly points to an enforcement-first cautious approach rather than a willingness to embrace sweeping reforms. Her past statements make it clear that she's not exactly a champion for federal marijuana legalization, or even smoked medical cannabis. Then there's Derek Maltz, the Trump-appointed acting administrator of the DEA. Maltz isn't a newcomer to the drug war. He brings decades of experience to his role. He's been vocal in it, saying, "It's crystal clear to me that the Justice Department hijacked the rescheduling process, placing politics above public safety." He emphasized the need for scientific evaluation, adding, "If there's scientific evidence to support this decision, then so be it. But you've got to let the scientists evaluate it." This statement isn't just standard bureaucratic language. It reflects deep-rooted skepticism within the DEA about the safety and efficacy of medical cannabis. Finally, adding an intriguing twist to the story is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., nominated to head the Department of Health and Human Services. Kennedy has long been an advocate for cannabis legalization and has touted its potential to generate tax revenue and improve public health. Yet, in his confirmation hearing, he stated, "I will defer to the DEA's expertise on this matter." This is a puzzling admission. The head of HHS, whose primary responsibility would be evaluating the medical benefits of cannabis, is essentially saying that the final word belongs to an agency that remains firmly opposed to any reclassification. It's like having a doctor who insists that the final diagnosis will be called by someone else. That's supposed to be your job, bro. Now you might be asking yourself, if Trump himself has expressed support for decriminalizing small amounts of marijuana, why is progress stalling? The answer lies in the internal dynamics of this administration. On one hand, Trump's rhetoric is populist. He once said in 2015, "I feel strongly about not criminalizing people for small amounts of marijuana." On the other hand, his cabinet picks, mostly Bondi and Maltz, signal a deep commitment to traditional law and order principles. Their strict views on drug policy mean that any quick move to change cannabis rules will likely get stuck in a government mess of red tape. So what are the possible outcomes? Let's explore three potential scenarios. First, the optimistic scenario, full rescheduling to Schedule III. This outcome, despite the internal resistance, overwhelming public support, and robust scientific evidence, pushed the administration to reclassify cannabis. This would be a game changer for the industry, eliminating the harsh tax burdens posed by Section 280E and unlocking opportunities for clinical research that could lead to breakthrough treatments. Imagine a world where legal cannabis businesses could claim standard deductions and researchers could run clinical trials without drowning in red tape. Unfortunately, given the stances of Bondi and Maltz, this rapid transformation seems very unlikely. So second, we may face a prolonged incremental process. Here, the HHS issues its recommendation in favor of rescheduling based on emerging clinical data. However, when that proposal lands on the DEA's desk, acting Administrator Maltz and his team just delay or even block change by citing concerns over public safety and the potential for abuse. This scenario would leave cannabis sort of in a regulatory limbo for years, where minor policy tweaks might be implemented, but the full benefits of reclassification remain perpetually out of reach. Waiting for federal cannabis legalization is somewhat like standing by a glacier as it inches forward. Everyone assures you that change is happening and coming, but the slow pace is agonizing and seemingly absent. The third scenario is the worst. That's no change at all. In this situation, internal divisions and entrenched bureaucratic mindsets and the conservative leanings of key agencies keep cannabis locked in Schedule I indefinitely. For millions of patients who rely on cannabis for relief, And for an industry that has grown very